All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching and attending here. My name is Brooks Burnett. This is the Remodeling Success Podcast. We are here today interviewing Jerry Martin from New Day Construction, and he is going to give us his insights on the industry. And so we're going to talk to him today. So, Jerry, why don't you go ahead and just start off and just share a little bit about your history, how you got started. Just give us the lay of the land of your business here.
Wow. Actually, I come from, never swung a hammer, got paid for it. When I got in construction, I have a business background, so I've been fortunate to own several businesses throughout the years. So in the mid 30s, which is crazy. Mostly retail businesses, but every business it was mostly in the fitness industry. And each business I've had, I did the build out, flipped a few houses through that time. So when it come to we sold the fitness businesses probably about 4 years ago, and I was looking for something to do. Didn't know what I was going to do, so I looked at construction, looked at the business model there, and you know, dove into that. My strong points are marketing. I do a lot of videos and stuff like that. So I look at businesses. If you can attract the right people, if you can attract customers, then most any business model will work. But I enjoy doing the construction. I enjoy uh, taking old things and making them new again. So we do reconstruction surgery, reconstruction surgery, bathrooms, surgery. Let me say that right. Surgery. So, yeah, we call it surgery sometimes because, but yeah. So I started this business roughly right when the pandemic started. Started with two guys. We're a Christian-based business, so I lay a lot of our growth, success, in God's hands. I think He used me going through that process, and started with two guys, like I said, 3.5 years ago. Last year we touched right at $5 million, which is crazy. We've got an amazing team of people, salespeople, project managers, great guys that I feel just blessed to have those people. So it's definitely been a roller coaster ride. It's been hard. A lot of people don't understand owning your own business and running a construction business. If you want to grow, you've got to work. And it's not just working in the field. It's not just swinging a hammer. You've got to work on growing your business. And that's where most I see a lot of contractors fail. They're afraid to make that jump into having somebody take their place and in the field and growing their business. I didn't have a choice. I come at it as I had to have the people. I knew how to sell. I knew how to get business, but I needed the people. So, if you can transition from, actually doing the work and spending more time with your customers, spending more time, getting leads, stuff like that, your business start to grow. But that's pretty much, your small remodelers, that's pretty much where they stay. They can't cross that. And then running into people like Brooks to help marketing and stuff like that will help too. So that's a little bit in a nutshell.
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, 4 years is really impressive. Like most remodelers that I talk to in the industry have been doing it for years and years, or they started off as a project manager and then kind of worked their way up, or at least, they moved and started their own contracting business. So, just starting from scratch 4 years ago, especially at the start of the pandemic, is really impressive. And so just kind of piggybacking off that, so what is your ideal customer? So like what is your like target market when it comes to contractors? Because I know some remodelers they go for quick projects. They like to just kind of bust them out rapidly, and some others are looking for those higher end customers. So what is your ideal customer and target market?
Well, it's changed. When I started, I honestly took on most every job I put my hands on. I knew that if I turned out enough work, turned enough before and afters, that'll gain momentum going in. So I was taking fence job. I was taking small jobs that we don't take now. But I would say, don't turn down any business. I remember I had an assistant back then, and she said, you keep taking jobs. We don't have the people to do them. I said, well, I can't slow momentum. I can't say no. If I say no, it's going to slow that momentum, and I can't do that. And so just moving forward, and taking on it, whatever I can do just to grow the business. Now we're at a point to where we can start being a little more choosy, or picky of who we want to do business with. So I would say my target market right now is kind of I wouldn't say high end bathroom kitchen remodels. I love bathroom remodels more than anything. Um, Typically, our bathroom remodels are hitting master bathroom models hitting 20,000 to 25,000. We would like to be up to 30, 35,000. So that's going to take a little time for us to direct our marketing in that area. It's We're getting there every year. We're able to charge more every month. We're able to charge more because we have so many Google reviews now and so many before and afters. So it's starting to really shift into people are hunting us down, wanting us to do their job because they're hearing about how we why we're different, what we do differently, and how we stand behind what we do. But yeah, I would say bathroom models somewhere in that $30,000 to $40,000 range would be perfect. Some of the bigger jobs, a lot of people go, "Oh man, I get this $150,000, $200,000 remodel job." Those tend to hurt sometimes. So those are, when you're spending a lot of time in somebody's home, a lot of patience, they lose patience and grace. And so yeah, I like to. The reason I like bathrooms, we can flip them pretty quickly to 2 weeks in and out of there, and we just move on to the next job.
Yeah. Okay, well that's great, man. I mean, I was going to ask, kind of the next question was going to be like, what kind of service do you prefer to provide? Because I've talked to lots of remodelers that like to do they like to do kitchens or they like to do bathrooms or decks or patios and things like that. So they all kind of specialize um, in their own service. So that's good. But I wanted to kind of dive a little bit deeper into what you said about slowly starting to raise your prices, or not necessarily raise your prices, but just kind of, I guess, just raise your prices for lack of a better term. But so how did you start to gradually do that? Was it kind of noticing the area that you were, you know that you were getting jobs in, or did you start to advertise like, hey, let's put in this style of countertop, and that kind of raised it. So how did you kind of slowly start to raise your prices a little bit?
Um, we Through our sales process, I look at competition or other builders in the industry, and what are they not doing? What can we do that they're not doing? So we offer a lot. We offer a 3-year warranty, and I firmly stand behind it. I'm a man of my word. I wear this cross every day. And a lot of people go, "Oh, that's a Christian guy. Be careful." No, I take it seriously. And one of our slogans is, "We take care of people. God takes care of money." So I'm going to make sure I do the right thing every single time. So enough jobs, enough trust in that. Our presentation when we go out to a sales call, we do a slideshow presentation. It talks about our values, what we stand for, has some before and afters, how we advertise that we keep a 98% clean zone by using air scrubbers, stuff like that. So we're just finding different ways to set ourselves apart, which gives us a little more room to raise our money a little bit. Because when people look at it, you're right, they're interviewing contractors and they're looking at other ones. And I will let me back up and say this. One of the biggest things I did, I have a red flag video. Basically, it's on our website. It's basically for the customers. So we encourage them to go get estimates. But these are things you need to look for when hiring a contractor. Things that people don't know, like what is a lien waiver? Just talk about deposits. Why stay away from big deposits? Because people get burned from that. So I go at it as a more educational approach, and my feedback I get from the customers, they love it. They love the fact that I'm helping them, and in doing that, they gain more trust. And doing that, they're willing to pay a little bit more than the bathroom model than Joe's construction company would have offered too.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. That's that's something that I see a lot of lack in the remodeling industry is that education piece, and putting your face out there and being willing to explain how you do things. I don't know, maybe it's fear of DIYers, listening and saying, well, I'm just going to go do this for myself, but that education piece is crucial, right?
Well, you will find, I mean, even from my fitness background, we used to, give people some of our secrets. Everybody said, "Oh, they're going to do it themselves." Well, they're going to do it themselves anyway. So those are, but what you're after is there's a lot of people who not going to do it themselves, and then they start looking at you as the leader, as the teacher, and I want that person right there. So yeah, every job site I do a video on. I talk about, hey, when you're doing a shower, this is the things you need to look for. When you're hiring a contractor, make sure you use Red Guard. Make sure the door rock's being put up. Just things that they may not know that they can look out for as they're going through a process, or even before they go through the process, they can do their studies too. I've created all kind of educational stuff. I've got a 30-minute slideshow presentation on bathroom remodeling, the whole ins and outs of that, what different type of tile they are, what different types of showers you can get, and stuff like that. So that goes out as part of our sales call if they want to do a bathroom remodel. So our goal again is to teach them about what they're fixing to go into, and so that stuff like that helps us raise that price, raise trust, and we're starting to get that people are coming to us going, "I don't want anybody else. I want you." And, before even the price, they want us to do the job. So that's a
Yeah.
great place to be.
Yes,
So that's
definitely.
actually where I want to be. People are chasing us down. Says, "I don't care what your price is. I want you to do our job." Okay, that's where I want to be.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's the dream, right? Well, that's good. So so when it comes to your services, you've talked a lot about your bathroom remodels and you like doing those, and that's good. Do you offer any other services? Just kind of tell us about what other remodeling construction services that you guys provide.
We primarily do kitchen, bathrooms, basements, porches, and additions. Now we still get those calls from customers wanting us to work on their door and stuff like that. I try to stay away from projects less than 5 grand,
Mhm.
unless we have a past relationship, because it doesn't make sense. We have so much overhead. We've got to have that profit built in. I would say the number. Oh, let me mention this because we may not get to it. I say the number one thing that really helped us is we have a showroom, which is behind me. So we're in a retail location, and we have cabinets. We have a shower in the front window, and a tub in the front window. Vanities, flooring. So what that done for us, and this is where a lot of contractors don't do. They either work out of their home or they may have an off-site facility in an industrial park. That's great, but having a place where somebody can come see you, come see them, touch, and think brings more trust because they know if something goes wrong, they know where you can find you. You can move if you're running your business out of your house. It's not as credible as it would be to have a location. And the strip mall that we're in is $1,500 a month. Come on.
Mhm.
And if you're in the construction industry, that's nothing. But the amount of walk-in traffic we get, the amount of people that picks us over another contractor because they can come to our showroom, they can talk about cabinets, they can talk about countertops, and look at selections. We just
Mhm.
added an interior designer to every project too. So all this is really helping us raise those prices a while ago that we talked about. So yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Yeah, yeah. The the on-site, you know, um, location is something that I'm starting to see emerge a little bit more in the remodeling industry, and so that's good that a lot of contractors are starting to realize that you can advertise the countertops you use, the cabinets, and speaking with someone about it is is the way to go. And so that's good. That's good that y'all have got that, and it is in a good location that y'all have. So lots of people, lots of good traffic that come through there. So, are there any emerging services that you have seen that maybe so something like an outdoor kitchen or anything new that you're noticing within the industry, or do you like to just keep it kind of bare bones with what works?
I mean, the only thing is on my radar, and it may not be this year, I don't know, is closets. We're looking at getting into custom closets. But that's more of a division built around that. So something I'd like to do. I know there's a good market for it. And Ben, we already have the showroom here. I think it'll be a good addition for us. As far as emerging new things, you know, I think it's still all over the place. But I would tell you the more the most calls we get is for bathrooms. We do more bathrooms than anything, and it's not just us. I feel like that a lot of people in the industry are looking at the bathrooms. They want their bathrooms redone. It's a hot button, and then from there their kitchen, of course.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, if you're looking to get into something, bathrooms is a good place to because there's a tremendous amount. Now, a lot of contractors start with decks and porches, stuff like that, which is fine. Problem with decks and porches and stuff like that is everybody's doing them, and it's just hard to compete. We had to go above and beyond to get those jobs because we're more expensive than anybody else, right? So what do we do differently? We picture frame everything. We put deck tape down. There's things that I advertise that we do above and beyond. But I know I'm off track. Sorry, I've got that squirrel syndrome, so my
Yeah.
brain just starts going. I start talking, um, but yeah, I would say definitely bathrooms is probably the big niche, I guess, where everybody's pushing hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, well, there's not you got kitchens, bathrooms, whole home, living rooms. I mean, I guess you could break it down piece by piece by the house, right? But at the end of the day, you know, it's good that you found kind of your strong point, and that's just kind of, it seems like that's kind of what you're getting the most traffic for, and you're just diving into that instead of trying to change what's working. So that's good. Um, so I wanted to switch gears here and talk a little bit about your marketing, the leads coming in, what you're doing with the leads, instead of just letting them go and kind of just hoping for the best. So what kind of marketing, just give us an overview of what kind of marketing you're doing just for all of your services or specific services. So just kind of give us the lay of the land for your marketing right now.
Right. I'll first say that this is where I see a lot of contractors fail. They don't put enough money into marketing. They're afraid to spend that money, but it's crucial. Now you have the right message, making sure if you're going to be in a publication, what are you putting differently than somebody else, right? Um, I think one of the biggest thing that helped us actually, as I was going through it, us being having the cross, that attracts a lot of people. I know a lot of people stay away from that, but yeah, it does limit us. There's some people who probably don't call us. That's fine. But I would say we get a high percentage of people who do. As far as advertising, just making sure, again, you have a budget set aside for advertising. Your low hanging fruit, which has been very helpful for us. There's some local coupon magazines or shopper magazines that we do very well in. We're in about 4 or 5 counties in that. So that's a good source for us. That actually hits a market that is not on Facebook. They go to each community goes about 20,000 homes, and so I noticed that we're getting a lot of the older generation that, and that may be why we do a lot of showers because they're doing conversion showers stuff like that as they get older. Um, we have a radio ad. Of course, we do Facebook advertising with you. We do some SEO. So this last year, I think we spent right at $80,000 in advertising, which is not enough, honestly. I need to do more this year. Um, because I know if we do more advertising in the right markets, we'll be able to grab those customers that we're looking for. Um, so yeah, just don't. Like I said, a lot of guys will try print ad, and in it, let me back up and say this too: it's consistency too. If you're going to do an ad, keep doing it. The publications that I are in, I see people do a month or so, then they stop. Uh, well, what I've noticed is I've had people hang on their ad for months. They take it out of the book, they hang it on the refrigerator, and I've had them say, "I've seen you there every month. You must be credible." Even we had my friend's my wife's friend had said, "Hey, I noticed your husband wasn't in the magazine this month. Are y'all doing okay? Is the business okay?" We were in it; she just overlooked it. But
Yeah.
you can see that if we're not in it, then we're not doing well. Does that make sense? So it's funny, and put your face on it too. God, whatever advertising, they want to know who they're dealing with. So on ours, it has a picture of me on there, which it's not. It's just I know that they want to know who they're dealing with. And then I also have a QR code in every ad that leads straight to a video that talks with me talking about who we are, what we're about, some are before and
Mm.
after, stuff like that. So I'm trying to break those barriers down to where They get to know me before they get to know me, and get to know our company before they actually call us. So that would be my kind of, as far as advertising. Yeah,
Yeah.
videos, 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 and not just videos of showing off your work. That's all fine and dandy. That's great. But how you did the work, who did your work. We're going to start doing shout outs. When I go out and do videos, I'm going to say, hey, we'll walk through this video and walk through this bathroom, and let me talk about each aspect of this. So on the plumbing, I want to thank you, Adam, for taking care of this plumbing. You've done an amazing job. I'm blessed to have him. And, go through every aspect of who worked on the job so the customers and people serve videos go, wow, they actually care about their people, which I do. But I want to be able to showcase that and let them know I do care. We have a great team of guys that I love very much and I pour into. So those are things that people want to see and that nobody else is doing. So I would say if you can be more personal, if you can open up and be more transparent, you'll find that people like that. Now, we don't please everybody, unfortunately. As much as I want to, I can't. But I try my best to make things right no matter what, no matter the cost. Um, you know, Google reviews, or people think, well, that's advertising. Yeah, Google reviews is a huge advertisement. And if you're not getting good Google reviews, no matter how much advertising you put out there, they come back to that Google review. So making sure you protect those. I go above and beyond to protect it. I will lose money on a job to make sure that that customer is taken care of to prevent a bad review, because it can be devastating. And I can harp on this all day long. Do not get a bad review. If you do, you got to somehow make it right. I had a gentleman put one on there, and it was, people don't call. I don't understand that. I give a 3-year warranty, but they just don't call and say, hey, you're going to fix this. So he throws up a bad review. I said, Nick, why do you call me, man? He said, well, and we dropped the ball. So my team dropped the ball. So I said, look, I'm going to come out there and make it right. I'm going to send some team guys there. So we fixed everything he wanted to fix. He took the review off. So again, I do everything I can to make sure we don't get a bad review. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
cost me $10,000. I remember one job, but I had to not get that, So yeah,
Right.
so always look at your Google reviews as a source of advertising, because that's honestly it's going to be your biggest source of advertising.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and when it comes to the Google reviews, getting a bad review is not always a bad thing. It gives you an opportunity to then make it right, like you were doing. So that's good, and it can show your community and show people who might be reading the reviews. It can show them that you do make it right and you do take care of the customer. So that's good that you do that. Um, and I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that authority building that you're doing with constantly being at the top of mind with your customers, being in the publications on a regular basis and staying consistent with that. Remodeling is not it's not a quick purchase, right? It's not buying a $20 t-shirt off of Amazon, right? It can sometimes be lingering in the back of people's minds for years, right? And so staying consistent like that is great, and it's awesome that you guys are doing that. And I think it's definitely a part of the very fast growth that you guys have had. So that's great. Are there any other points about marketing? So when you get leads that come in, you got a lot of different funnels that you guys have, doing things online, got search engine optimization, you got print ads, billboards, radio ads, and you've got a lot of different things going on. So how do you qualify the leads that are coming in? Because, someone might call in and say, hey, I want you to, build me a shed out in my backyard, or something like that. So how do you qualify the leads coming in and find that right exact um,
Uh,
lead that you
right.
want?
That's a hard one. That's one we try to tackle on every day. So I've got plans. What one thing I'm looking at doing is I haven't done it yet, but time time soon. On our website, I'm going to put in small videos about. Let's talk about a bathroom model and what the cost is, the average cost, the average cost of the kitchen model. And then when people call in, Not only we're going to direct the website, maybe we'll send them a link to that. Hey, here's a little bit of information about a bathroom model. Please watch it. And the
Mhm.
hope is that they hear the pricing and they'll go, well, that's kind of out of my budget, or that sounds right. So it's hard right now. What we're doing, I have a full time salesperson, so when the calls come in, um, they get put on the schedule, and I'll call before he goes out and just try to qualify, just figure out what they're doing, and over the phone, I'll say, an average bathroom model based on a master bathroom model is going to be from here to here, just to see how they're going to react. So it's very hard. It's a hard conversation to have. It's, I've got a business coach that we hired that's going to help us navigate through that because he's worked for some other construction companies about that. Um, we met another construction company that were actually charging for leads, but then they got away from it, or charging for estimates. Uh, so it's hard. That's a hard one. But one thing I'm going to help that I think is going to help a lot is feeding through those videos. That way they can understand, where we're at as far as if you call us, this is where we're going to be at in your bathroom model, and this is why we're at this price. So hopefully that'll help qualify some of the people and make it more understanding about who they're, if they want to do business with us, because there's some people out there who just want it cheap, 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 cheap. um, and that usually costs them more at the end, but it's hard to convince them with that. So hope that helped. But yeah, it's kind of a struggle we're dealing with right now. So it's a hard one.
Yeah, and from the many conversations I've had with remodelers across the country, that it's I always hear different strategies. Some just like to rely on just good phone call, and just good conversations to kind of get it out of the prospect, and some people do have that, down payment, or some call it a design fee, kind of just that upfront like investment of, $2,000 to $5,000, and they kind of use that as a, how do you feel about that?
I haven't had to do. I hear it a lot, and maybe I'm just different in that aspect. One thing that we do advertise, we don't take deposits, except for special order items. It just that there's no need. A lot of people look at it and go, "Well, they got to put skin in the game." I haven't. Gosh, probably would say over the last 4 years, we last year we did 250 jobs. So I would say yearly on average we do 200 jobs a year. So what's 1,000 jobs out of that? Maybe five people who maybe stuck me with something, and I handled them in court.
Hmm.
So, I think it's if they know who they're dealing with. We haven't had many issues at all with people not paying us. Just haven't. There's those few, but so I I purposely advertise no deposits to get more business because that's a sticking point in this industry right now is deposits. There's so many people out there, so many bad contractors taking people's money. To me, it's not worth losing that sale when we have enough cash flow. I have enough cash flow to start a job or finish a job if I need to. We take weekly draws on the amount of work's done. So when I talk to them, look, the only deposit we take is a special order. So if you have a vanity that we need a special order, that's got to be paid for. You got to pay for that immediately. But we do take weekly draws on the amount of work that's done. So Melissa will call you on a weekly basis and we'll ask for a draw based on the amount of work. That way you can see what you're paying for. So I'm very transparent with that and say, look, we're going to work for our money, and I want you to see it before you pay us. And so that helps us in a couple of ways. One, it helps break down those walls, and two, it helps us with our cash flow because now I got weekly cash flow, weekly calls. We send out to get weekly draws every single week, and typically we're running. I think we have about 30. Well, not to count the insurance division, but we're running about 30 jobs right now at any given time. Uh, it's got another 20 or 30 on the insurance side of it. So, um, and none of those we take deposits on or down payment, stuff like that.
Hmm. Hmm. So
So it can
really
be done.
just kind of, yeah, yeah, right, right. I mean, all of this is, you know, the contractors can take this as they, as they want. We're just trying to get what you do and what's been working
Yeah.
for you, and it's clear that it's been working pretty well. Um,
That's one of the biggest things in my red flag video I talk about is deposits. be careful when contractors pops in. I talk about smaller contractors because they unfortunately have to take deposits. They don't have enough in their bank account to float the job or float the materials. I would
Mhm.
say get to that point, but and everybody's afraid they're going to get stuck. And I hear a lot that I guess the people who are, I would call them two guys in a truck, smaller companies, they tend to get stuck more for some reason. I guess because the homeowner thinks they can get away with it. But if you know how to talk, you know about lien waivers. Once you mention lien waivers, take it to court, I can garnish your wages, then they pretty much will have to pay you. So it's a double-edged sword as you're small. So you have to kind of grow with that and know that you are taking a chance. But you'll know that first week when you ask for that first draw. So you can stop the job at any point in time. That's the way I look at it. It's like, worst case scenario, I've lost two or three, $4,000. I hadn't lost a lot, but I've gained more trust. So hope
Yeah,
that helps.
yeah. And that was going to be my next point. It sounds like your whole just business model is really focused mainly on just building trust, building rapport, sending those videos, having that conversation, putting your face out there, and just using that as your kind of what makes you separate from the other contractors, right? And
Yeah.
so that's good, and I think that's a great model. And like I said, it's paid off for you guys. Y'all are growing very rapidly and continuing to grow. So that's great. So is there any other type of marketing that you do to your existing client base or previous client base? So like if you've done like let's say you did a bathroom for them, do you do any other type of marketing to them, or do you just kind of, you know, rely on your other, your current sources of marketing to kind of just bring them back in when they're ready?
Everybody. A couple of things that I would be reaching out to them because they're in that mix. There's probably some customers who, or maybe something didn't go right. Now this is a double-edged sword because this is going to hurt, but it's going to help. So my thought process is, let me reach out to them. A couple of videos. One, let's talk to those people that, hey, this is Jerry. I just want to check in. We may have done your job a year ago, 2 years ago. Is everything going okay? Is there anything we need to look at? Now I may get a flood of calls with warranty issues, but those are opportunities to, that if we go out and fix that, then if somebody asks them about a contractor, who do you think they're going to suggest? Wait a minute, he actually reached out and wanted to check on things. And I did have a warranty issue, but I was afraid to call. But being he reached out, he went and took care of it. So that's one thing we'll do. Another thing is that customers who did well is to ask for a Google review through that process. So, talk to them about, hey, if we did a great job, we would love for you to provide us a review for that, and we
Mhm.
will bless you in a way because I don't want to pay them for reviews, right? But yeah, I definitely want to tap into that. I haven't pulled that trigger yet, but it's something I want to do because to me, it's if somebody's out there, something's wrong, I want to make it right.
Mhm.
I honestly want to make it right. So I know that's kind of strange to hear. But I think in doing that, doing that, doing the right thing consistently over and over builds a great foundation for any company. So
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
going to hurt, but it's going to help tremendously.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it sounds like it's just going back to that trust building element of your business. And, I do think that, relying on referrals too, not necessarily relying on them, but, doing that kind of work and, going back, fixing any potential mistakes can just, like you said, just lead to more talk about you and just more referrals that come in. And so, you know, so I think that's a definitely a no brainer too. Um, to have there. So that's really good. Well, so what what do you think if there's a remodeling contractor out there that's wanting to take their business to the next level, reach that $1 million mark or 2 million or whatever their mark is, what do you have any kind of little nuggets of information or any tips that you think could help them to move forward and just progress their business to that level?
Learn marketing, educate yourself. A lot of contractors don't. They rely on word of mouth, which is good. until it's not there anymore. And that's what's going on right now. I've got a lot of contractors coming out. They don't have work. Man, do you have work? I don't have work. And they've been relying on their business just on word of mouth. Well, the problem is there's not enough business out there right now. It's slowed down a little bit, and there's not enough word of mouth customers to keep them busy. So, without the proper marketing, without sales, you have no business. And that I think that's actually, I know that's where a lot of contractors go wrong. They go in it as, I do the work. Well, that's great, you do the work, but if you can do the work great all day long, but if you don't have the proper marketing, you have no way to get clients, then, and you don't have the knowledge to do that, then you need to learn it. And there's so much information on YouTube. There's people like you that can help with that. If you don't have time, which is hard because we're working all the time, um, then but you've got to learn it. Even if you hire somebody, you need to learn it so you know if they're doing their job right. Because I promise you, I've been through so many different Facebook people and stuff and ads and lost money because they didn't do it right. And so I had to learn so I knew what to look for. So my number one thing is get out of your business. The quicker you can replace you, it's going to hurt. You're not going to make as much money. But every aspect of you growing your business is going to be that point where you've got to work yourself out of it, and you're going to make less money. But knowing that, investing back into your business, a lot of guys do not invest back in their business. They're turning the whole time. So and then they're doing this hamster wheel, just run their business, and then they don't have time to grow anything. Because their bills is because now they're having to match their bills at home. So, look at your business and look at how to grow it, how to invest back into your business. So I'm constantly reinvesting in our business and not making I haven't made a lot of money in the last 5 years. I haven't, I've bought a truck and some things, but I haven't really made a lot. I've been really investing back in our team and our people. If got a person we interviewed I think's really good because they're hard to find, I'll go ahead and hire them and make a place for them. And knowing that that's a direct cost, but I know if I can surround myself with talent, then everything else works out. So making sure you invest in your business is something I can recommend. And learn. If you're not learning, you're dying. It's that simple. And a lot of old school people out there are not learning. I used to be that way. There was a time where I never read a book. I thought I knew everything. He didn't tell me nothing. But once I started learning, it opened up a whole uh, uh, avenue of things. How to organically get Facebook feed, how organically do post on Facebook to get more people to notice you, stuff like that you don't have to pay somebody like you for. You can start doing on your own. How to leverage your own personal Facebook page as a business page. There's so much you can learn through YouTube just to kind of get started in that area. So making sure that you learn about marketing is number one, and learning how to sell. Take some sales classes because a lot of contractors come out there and it's so funny. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious the feedback that we get from customers going, yeah, he come out here is rude and want to tell me how to do things, and this is his idea. And I had one customer said a contractor come in and wanted to use the bathroom, and not only did he use the bathroom, he used the bathroom with the door open. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
what are you doing? So yeah. So, but it's like there's so many guys out there that are not professional. Be professional. Have a nice shirt. Just just be professional, and that's lacking out there too. So, learning how to sell, learning how to do non-pressure sales. I don't. I'm not a good. Been in a lot of sales seminars, stuff like that, of how to the keywords to say this and that. I approach it as just be honest and transparent. People love that more than anything. Who you are, what you're about, and stand by it. The minute you crack, though, the minute you don't do something that you said you're going to do, then things start crumbling down. So if you go down that road, just make sure you do it. So that's the best advice I could give.
yeah, that's great, man. That's great. Some great insights there. Um, again, kind of going off that, like with I am noticing that a lot of remodelers are having to learn how to sell, like used to when the housing market's good, and calls just are flooding in, they can kind of, maybe be rude or, maybe not give as much information and they might still get the job, right? But now starting to slow down a little bit where you can see the separation happening between businesses like yours and other, remodelers who might not take things as seriously and things like that. So I think that's some great points there. Anything else that you'd like to share with us today?
Thing that no, nothing that I've ever said except what you said you're going to do. Always do the right thing. Uh, it's the hardest thing you'll do, but it's the foundation that'll build your business.
Yeah.
When you're building a business, you want to build it on you know concrete, not sand. So making sure that people know when you're doing this, who you're at, what you're about, and that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. That's the hardest thing.
Right. Well, great. Well, Jerry, I really appreciate you taking the time to come here with us and share your insights into the business. And congrats on your growth, man. That's great. Um, and so, well, just thank you very much for your time, and we'll talk to you later. All right.
You take care.
All right. See ya.